to go on Facebook. I'm about to rip a hole in that thing, man. I'm about to go live. But the most powerful tool for real estate investors, especially black real estate investors, is this device called, or this mechanism called the self-directed IRA. They call it the SDIRA. Whereas we've been told that you got to get a mortgage to utilize debt to buy real estate, all right? That's a lie, man. That's a lie. Like, nobody does that. You know what I'm saying? I even said this at Word of Faith. The etymology of the word mortgage means debt. It's mortificate in Latin, means debt. That's what it means. The second word, engagement, is an engagement until you die. And so for these folks to willingly put this narrative into the marketplace on late night TV through this no mortgage strategy or no money down strategy with Carlton Sheets and these two Rice twins, these two midgets in late night TV catching people who don't know no better between the hours of 10 or midnight and 5, 6 in the morning, and impress upon them heavily that you can build wealth, but you have to use this modality of the mortgage. That's wickedness. Because the people that's getting paid in real estate, they already know how they're getting paid. Everybody that's at the top, nobody's ever used mortgages. I can prove it. Donald Trump, off the rip, and we know about his political, issues and quagmires and all this other stuff, but there's something to be said about Trump, dog. How do you file bankruptcy almost 10 times and you still in the game hard? You still, like, somebody sent a picture on Facebook where this dude was pulling a crowbar to the Trump logo and pulling it off a building. And it didn't say no narrative, it was just you seeing this dude with a crowbar pulling Trump's name off it. But the dude got 2,000 other hotels worldwide that's killing him. How's he doing that? What deal structure did he use for him to be able to keep moving, having filed bankruptcy over 10 times? What is he doing? He ain't using banks. Ain't no bank lending to him. He has to use partnerships, people. Write this down. Partnerships and joint ventures. And this is what he does. He goes to the Russians, he goes to the Saudis. He says, hey, look, we're going to build a hotel. We're going to form a corporation. We're going to make an LLC. And you Saudis are going to put your money in this. And then we're going to use this to buy these real assets that are going to make money for us on a regular basis. That's the game. That's the real estate game. So if we're not Donald Trump, how can we play on that level? How can we utilize funds? And I ain't talking about mortgages. I'm talking about how can we utilize the resources that we already have access to be able to build wealth. Number one, self-directed IRA. Now, how does this work? You could be on a job, and of course, if you call in, the job place is going to tell you, you can't touch these funds. In fact, they're going to lie to you. They're going to say, the law says you can't touch it till you're 59 and a half. But how many black people are downloading the 1974 individual retirement account rules and regulations? The rules and regulations clearly state that you can download under 59 and a half for 2 reasons. Here it comes. 2. The first is to start a business. And we're talking avoiding penalties. Penalties is 10% under 59 and a half. And there's additional penalties that run up to additional 10% depending on your employer-employee relationship. So we're talking about 20% hit on your nest egg. But you can avoid those hits for one of 2 reasons. Number 1, starting a business. Number 2, investing in real estate. More specifically, tax lien certificates. This is on the 1974 individual retirement account rules and regulations. Download it and read it for yourself. So if most black people are going to work every day, we paying into the system is lying to us, but we still going ahead and using mortgages to stay in our houses. We still working every month to pay the mortgage. We can't be entrepreneurs and we paying a mortgage every month. That's insane. Nobody does that. You can't build wealth and be paying a mortgage every month. Here's another lie that we bought into. The 401k. They want to tell you the 401k is how you build wealth. Let me blow a hole in that whole 401k notion. If you're working a job and you got a good job, I got a good job, boss, pay me really well, Dr. Anderson. Okay, you're putting $1,000 into the program, right? And the boss man matches it against the employee match program, where the boss man comes in and he puts another $1,000 in the program. That's $2,000 a month. So in some people's mind, and they don't know, they'll say, oh, that's really good, right? I'm getting $2,000 a month towards retirement. Let me show you how that's a game. Let me show you how that's a carrot that they string in front of you to keep you in that hamster wheel. $2,000 times 12 is $24,000 a year. If you stay on that job and give that man 10 years of your life, right? 10 years, 10 good years, you only got $240,000 US dollars for retirement. And some people might say, well, Dr. Anderson, I beg to differ. I think that that's really good. Well, if you run an illustration and people that have life insurance and all these other, qualifying assets and stuff, just bring them right here. People that have these instruments know that 240 ain't doing nothing. In fact, I ran an illustration and I got debt. I got business debt that I'm managing, but I have very little personal debt. I don't have no car note, I don't have no student loans, I don't have no mortgage, I don't have none of that stuff, right? We got business debt that we're managing from some transactions that I went into and I gotta, manage the business debt. But personally, I have very little debt. When I ran the illustration, Google came back and told me I need 1.5 at Smith Barney or Morgan Stanley or whoever I put it with at 5% to manage and maintain the lifestyle that I've created for myself. It means I need about 10 stacks. Layman's terms, shout it, I need about 10 racks for the next goddamn 40 years that I got, shout. 10 G's a month for the next 30, 40 years, 50 years that I got on the planet without having to work. That means that I gotta have that 1.5 in this account at best on 5 or 6%. Or I can't retire. I gotta do more radio shows, I gotta produce more films, I gotta write more books, I gotta teach more classes, I gotta do more real estate deals. I can't chill out until that happens. So if that's my situation, then think about all the black people in America. The 42 million of us that's trapped here in America that don't have 1.5 sitting aside in an account so that we can retire. Then that means, class, the narrative is not gun control. The narrative is not education. The narrative ain't even racism and white supremacy. The narrative for the black community, in actuality, is we need to get this 1.5 in this account so we can retire. That's the narrative. But ain't nobody talking about that. Everybody talking about everything else. Everything else that doesn't make sense, that's a distraction. That's distracting us from being able to attain what we need so we can even think. We can't even think. We think that, okay, well, this is what's going to get us to the promised land and all this other stuff. We can't do that. So we have to do things. The narrative has to be from a standpoint of what we're going to do for ourselves first. Then how can I help my people? When y'all was on the plane on the way over here, that plane had to leave from New Orleans International. It had to get up to 30, 40,000 feet. It had to have a cruising speed of about 500 miles an hour, right, for about 2.5 hours. And then it had to descend. Now, if you're up at 30,000, 40,000 feet, somewhere in between there, and that cabin depressurizes, right? That means that air is too thin for y'all to breathe. If that would have happened, you know what if y'all, I fly a whole lot. If you've ever been in an airplane and that joker decapitalizes or depressurizes at 30,000 feet, the oxygen masks come out. And you hope that the pilot figures it out, because if the oxygen tanks are working, there's only 25 minutes, 22.5 minutes worth of oxygen for you to breathe, which should be enough time for him to find another place to land or get down to 10,000 feet so you can breathe on your own. But what's the first thing that happens? Them things pop out and guess what they tell you? They say, put the mask on they don't care if you got kids, could be 2 years old. Them say, put the mask on you first. Not your kid, you. When you get enough, then you give it to the kid. That's the situation that we're in right now as black people. We in that situation. We don't have no oxygen. We like, yo, what do we do? How do I do this? Live video? Okay, start. Yeah, just connect that to the. So our goal right now is to figure out what do we got to do so that we can regulate the oxygen that's coming into our bodies. And that manna, that money, that retirement money, that's oxygen. 100 G's is oxygen. You don't need no $1 million. People talk about, oh, you need $1 million so you can retire. You don't need $1 million. Let's remove all the debt out your life and then design your life. If you remove the mortgage, the car notes, well, car note first, then the mortgage, and the student loans, damn, you can think. You can say, hey, you know what? I think I want to do this. I don't think I want to go to this job. I don't think I want to trade my time for money. I don't want to do that no more. In fact, they play us when we go to file our tax returns. They ask you, is this earned or unearned income? We don't even get that game right there. When you go sit down with your tax preparer, they ask you, they say, is it earned? Bring it closer. Is it earned or is it unearned? Now think about that question. When you gotta earn your income, you gotta get up at butt crack in the morning, you gotta go out, you gotta trade your time. That's time that you could have been writing on your book. That's time that y'all could have been doing research, trying to find the next real estate deal. That's time that y'all could have been traveling the world, expanding, you and your wife vacationing. That's time that you, precious time, you can never get back, that you've taken and you've willingly given up for $1, for a price. That exchange, $20, $30, $40, whatever that is, you've given that up. You ain't getting that back. And you say, this is what I'm worth? I'm worth $100 an hour? I'm worth $20 an hour? Come on, people. Why are we doing this? Who told us to do this? Who told us as black people that it's okay for us to trade our time for dollars? No, man, we got to stop this. We have to stop. Our parents did the best they could, and I love my mom. I make fun of my mama all the time. In fact, I'll tell you a funny joke, if I might digress. I was in New York City on the radio, and they was like, we in here is Dr. Anderson, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, of course, people think I'm his son, you know, to get it twisted. And so somebody called the radio station, and they was like, yeah, Dr. Anderson, are you guys talking the same? You got the same energy, blah, blah, blah. Are you Claude Anderson's son? So, you know, I'm slinging jokes. I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to ask my mama. And I'm in New York. I'm from New York, Virginia. I'm in New York on the radio. Talking about, well, I don't know. You got to ask my mama. And my mama didn't think that was funny. She listened to the radio. She didn't think that was funny at all. Man, them fools was like, yo, line 2. It's your mama. I was like, oh, man, hold on. And I was trying to screen my mama offline. The DJ put her straight on the radio. Was like, okay, what say you, Dr. Anderson? And here come my mama. I don't think that's funny. Claude Anderson ain't your daddy. Yo, da, 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 da. I was like, man. Mom, calm down, you know? but I say that to say, you know, our parents weren't told or didn't know what to do. They had to figure it out. Yep. So their figure it out was go to school, get a good, as my mama would say, get you a good job with a 401. Good government job, right? That's all they knew. Go to school, get an education, get a good job. But this is what's killing us. That narrative is killing us. It's killing us. People say, oh, go to school. I'm not knocking education, okay? But what are we being taught in school? In fact, we're being taught by, I'm talking on a collegiate level, we're being taught by instructors who ain't never made $1 million. Never made $1 million, okay? I teach at institutions. Like, I'm an adjunct professor at a few universities. In fact, on April 6th, I'm going up to the University of Akron. They pay me 15 grand. And I'm speaking as keynote. Stedman Graham speaks before me. So what I'm saying, I'm not saying that to act like I'm all that. I'm saying that when you have a specialized skill set and you really like have the experience to back up what you're doing, that has value. That has more value than the actual professor does who's teaching a curriculum. And in fact, curriculums take 10 years to perfect. Perfection of a curriculum means that's what you have to go through before you can put it into the institution. It takes 7 years to perfect the curriculum and an additional 3 to administer it. So these things got to go through 10 years. 10 years before they go into the school. So if you're in a business school trying to get business information and you sign up for this foolishness and you go get a student loan, you taking out a loan to pay for 10 years worth of dated information from an institutional or a professor who ain't never made $1 million. It's a hoax, man. The whole thing is a hoax. I ain't saying don't go to school, but what I'm telling you is we got to look at things differently. Why is it that we're not progressing? Why is it that our Latino brothers and sisters are now a 55 billion population, 55 million in the United States? 55 million. There's only 320 million people in the US, 320. And our Latino brothers and sisters are at 55. We still at 42. We've been at 42 since the Cosby Show, man. Go look at this, Google this. What was the black population when in the 80s? It was like 38 million. We had 42. So tell me in 30 years we've only populated an additional 5 million people? It's the narratives that we're accepting, that we're propagating amongst ourselves that's killing us. Oh, we don't need to have no babies. It costs too much. Our Latino brothers and sisters ain't buying into Margaret Sanger. Ain't buying into Planned Parenthood. In the 80s, last time I checked, they was at 25 million. Now they at 55? They grew 30 million people in 30 years. That's 10 million a year. We still stuck at the same point. Because we are accepting the narrative, well, you better not have no more kids. You better go get an abortion. We can't pay for that. But if we just knew, if we understood how to grow money, how to move the needle from 1 to 2, you have as many kids as you want. In fact, the book said to go forth and prosper. That's in the book. It also said a mandate, and I might add, to own land. But we in church, we praying to the Lord, Jesus, give me the abundant life. Jesus, please, please, Jesus, please, please, please. He already told y'all what to do. We ain't even doing it. He said own land. That's a mandate. It ain't nothing to play with. It ain't nothing to think about. The Lord said to possess the land. Possess it. And he further says in the account to subdue it. Possess and subdue. But we running around trying to figure out how to sell Bitcoins. I'm not knocking cryptocurrency. I'm speaking at the cryptocurrency conference in Austin, Texas on what is that, on the 17th of March. I ain't saying don't invest in Ethereum and Ripple and all this stuff, but you need to know what's going on in the market before you jump in it. God said to possess the land. That's something tangible. That ain't gonna change. It ain't never changed. Cryptos change all the time. They said the Bitcoin a few months ago was at $30,000. Or going up to be $30,000. Now it's $9,000 right now. Right? So we got to know how to move our stuff and how to move the needle to a certain way so that we can make sure that it benefits us. Period. Now, how does that all relate to real estate? God said possess the land, then to subdue it. Let's look at these real estate tax lien laws. I told you all about the self-directed IRA and the power of that. Now somebody might say, well, doctor, well, everybody in here, imagine this, everybody in here has a 401k. They got money access, but some of y'all might not. So some people say, well, I don't have a 401k. I want to know how to invest. Well, get this. I was in the bank yesterday. The banker told me that we don't need to use the cash that's in the account no more. The banker told me that they want to use the business is strong enough where it can use business lines of credit. And we're going to use 2 of your businesses so we don't have to do income documentation. There's enough activity going on where we can approve you for $50,000 on each business. Enough activity on my consulting business and one of my real estate accounts. Enough activity going on. We're going to give you 50 G's to use. And this ain't no credit card. Credit cards are at 29, 30%, craziness like that. We're talking a line. So now, imagine this. We at the courthouse steps, and instead of us raising capital and using the self-directed IRA and partnering with clients and all this crazy stuff, we got access to a line for 100 G's. We rip down the line, buy a judicial foreclosure for $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. We put it on the market, sell it for 80 G's. That's $70,000 in profit. And now, we ain't even using our own money to do it. But most people say, oh, I can't invest in real estate because I don't have the capital. It's the same thing with these narratives. Oh, I can't have kids because they cost too much. Or I can't go to school because I don't have the money to pay for it. That's crazy. We could do whatever we choose to do. I'm on my way to Africa for the whole month of April to shoot a film. We're working on a new film documentary. We did Black Friday, we did Generation 1. I'm doing a new film called Return to Kemet, right? Our ancestors built pyramids, man. Pyramids that they still can't figure out today how they got built. So you're going to tell me we can't figure out how to do this minuscule stuff that people talk about we can't do? Come on. We can do. It's this simple. We talked about the self-directed IRA. Let's get into this business credit thing. I'm going to lay this out right quick for y'all. Because I got to show people how they can do this thing before they buy in. You say, oh, I ain't got the money to do it. If you have a 720 credit score, now here we go, oh, I ain't got no 720 credit score, Dr. Anderson. If you don't, there's a company called United Credit. And United Credit will allow for us to clear off your report. There's a couple of companies out here that's running around that do a pretty decent job. FFS is one of them. United Credit is another, right? You could go to United Credit and address all of your issues that you have on credit immediately. Immediately. They said that the average African-American credit score is like a 620. So if the average credit score is a 620, the banks will give us 50 G's on 2-3 different accounts, $100,000, if you have a 720 or better. Then guess what? Let's just say on average, all black people are 100 points away from financing, right? Just a methodology. I know some of y'all in here, if y'all got good jobs, IRAs and all that stuff, y'all got decent credit scores. But for the most part, across the spectrum, we don't. The average white person has a 720. Average African American, average black person got a 6-something, right? So that's economic injustice. Ain't nobody putting their finger on that. Ain't nobody marching for that. Ain't nobody putting their fists in the air for that. That means that the white man can go into any store and get whatever the hell he wants, and we got to go over here and get financing to get what we want and get messed up terms. That's crazy. So when we know that we're experiencing economic injustice, what can we do to combat that? We know that's the game. The game is go get your furniture from Rent-A-Center. Don't nobody do that. You want furniture, you go to daggone Burlington, North Carolina and get your furniture. You get a whole bedroom suite for $1,500. The whole thing, the house. Now how many Negroes is doing that? We go in the Rent-A-Center, shout it, I need the 100-inch flat screen, dog. I'm going to finance that right now. You're going to finance a 100-inch flat screen for 5 years. You're going to pay $5,000 for something that costs $500 at Walmart now. They got the 55 inches is $500 LED. But we going to go get the 100 inch and finance it for 5 years. Come on, people. We can't think like that if we're going to build wealth. That's the issue. It's the thinking. So what we have to do, if we have bad credit, we got to get with United Credit or FFS, right? Go to their websites, figure out what they're talking about. Pay that little $350 or to United Credit or whatever it is, $349. FFS is like $150, and then you got to pay $59. FES, sorry, FES. I'm thinking about writing insurance. FES, for you FES people, right? You pay their money, and they got one thing I like about United Credit is you pay one time, that's it. FES, they got all kind of wraparound services that you're paying on. But you figure out which one is good for you, right? The bottom line is you fix your credit. You get it all zeroed out. Now, here it comes, $1 million advice. Well, Dr. Anderson, I cleared everything off my report. Now what? Now, right, you get trade lines, and you don't buy these trade lines off of Craigslist from your homeboy, right? Because people now, they're selling these trade lines online. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get some trades, Dr. Anderson. I'm gonna get some trade lines, and I'm gonna put it on my credit score, and I'm gonna use my partners over here, and it's gonna boost my score. That's illegal. Ain't nobody doing that no more. You could have did that in 2012. You can't do that now. So what do? How do you boost your score? How do you increase your score 100 to 150 points in the next 30 to 90 days? How do you do that? Y'all ready? BB&T, Fidelity, Navy Federal, boom. BB&T, Fidelity, Navy Federal, boom. What am I saying? If you go to BB&T, you get them $10,000 on a secured card, they're gonna give you a card in 10 days. And that's gonna immediately report in 15. Reporting cycles are 2 cycles, 15 and 31st. So you do that same strategy. One at Navy Federal, one at Fidelity or whatever other institution you have, one at BB&T, you go get their secured card. So somebody say, oh my God, you tying up $30,000. But think about that. If I go tie up 30 grand to boost my score above the 720 range or 750 range, only to turn around and get approved on my LLC, 2 different LLCs for 50,000 each, I got 100 G's, 100 G's. I'm a deadly weapon with $100,000 on the first Tuesday of the month at any county of the 159 counties in Georgia. I'm a deadly weapon. And I got a narrative and a purpose and an understanding of how to utilize the equity in the land. I'm a dangerous Negro with 100 G's access to. And we doing research to figure out what to buy and what not to buy, what has mortgages, what don't have mortgages, what's a super tax lien, what's a judicial foreclosure, what has a federal tax lien or a state tax lien which can't be removed. We doing all of that research before we pull the trigger? Come on, man. Ain't nobody telling y'all that. Ain't nobody teaching that to black people. They might teach that to other ethnic groups, but they ain't teaching that to black folks. And that's the game. So what I'm saying is, you got options. You can either been in the job, doing your thing for the past 10, 20 years, 15 years, being a good steward, going to church, paying your taxes, raising the kids. You might not have known about any of this information. And I understand that. Nobody has time to go figure it out for 20 years. I've been figuring it out for 20 years. So it kind of comes naturally to us, right? But then what happens to the people that say, well, I ain't never heard about all this stuff? You know, cats that come in from New Orleans. They're saying, dang, Atlanta looks prosperous. Look at all these black people, you know, owning, you know, driving, eating good, and all this crazy stuff. Yeah, we see it too. But not everybody in Atlanta is actually doing it like that. They might be what they call fronting, propagating. You know what I'm saying? So we can use that as energy too to get what's actually being offered here in Atlanta, which is black empowerment. The building of generational wealth. That's the narrative. That's the takeaway. It ain't let me go do this deal so I can go drive Range Rovers. I got 4 of them. I got to get up every morning and figure out which the hell one I want to drive, right? It ain't about that. It's about how can I figure out a strategy where I can not have to use my own resources to go in and create more resources. Let's think about that all day. Let's not waste our time trading our time for money and being told what to do for some other person who's absorbing all the resources out the community and bringing it into their own. Period. That's the war. It ain't to go out here and kill Whitey and all this other crazy stuff. It ain't about that. This is about you and your family. Your kid might come up in here and say, hey, Dr. Anderson, I want to go here. I want to go to this school. You know, can you afford to put your kid into that college? You can come on in, sir. Take a seat anywhere.
Yeah.
All right, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Good. So the game is to understand what are the proven strategies. What are the proven strategies that we can utilize to move the needle forward to address whatever issues that we might be having in our own communities and in our personal families, period. All right? So we told you about self-directed IRAs. I told you about enhancing your credit score to be able to use the business lines of credit from these different institutions so that you can invest. All right? Now I've given you 2 free strategies on how to get the money to get on the courthouse steps. Let's talk about what's going on at the courthouse steps. All right? So, what are we talking about? Here's another game. They tell y'all, well, in order to get into the real estate game, you got to be able to buy property off the MLS. That's where you go. This is the multiple listing services. This is what they tell the new people that's coming into real estate, new people in the room that want to get into real estate. You're going to hear this. They're going to tell you, oh, well, you got to get access to the MLS so you can find the deals. That's a lie, man. You go to MLS to sell. You don't go to MLS to go find new opportunities. Everybody and their mama is on the MLS with opportunities. So what does that mean? You can't go to the marketplace. You can't go and look for on-market properties which are currently being sold and then take them off the market and say, oh, I got this opportunity. It's not an opportunity. It's already on the market. You got to go to off-market, right? That means you either got to run around and knock on people's doors and find out who mama died and Ray and Day don't have the money to pay the taxes. And so now they want to hurry up and sell the house before the tax sale comes. Right? Because in Georgia, and this is the same thing because in Louisiana, y'all have parishes. Mm-hmm. So the way that the rule is that it don't matter if you have a mortgage. You can have a $500,000 mortgage from Deutsche Bank or HSBC, $500,000. If you don't pay them real estate taxes in your parish or in your municipality or whatever jurisdiction that real property is in, guess what? The county issues a FIFE. That's what they call it, a FIFE. Furious facius in Latin. And that sets everything else aside. Everything else got to bow down. $500,000 to Deutsche Bank, bow down. Junior liens, HOA liens, bow down. State taxes, federal taxes, bow down. Water bills, $2,000, bow down. Everybody got to bow down to the tax lien. Ain't nobody tell you that while you were in school? The professor didn't tell me that when I was in school trying to figure it out. He didn't tell me, yo, David, you might want to look at real estate tax lien certificates if you're going to get into real estate. He didn't tell me that. They say, yo, you got to go to real estate school. You got to go pay $400 to Barney Fletcher and let them teach you how to access the MLS. And then I got to give half of my commission, which is only 3%. The split here is 6%, but there's a buy and sell side. So on the sell side or buy side, whatever you represent, is only 3%. I got to give half of that, 1.5, to the broker for 36 months. So I'm running around spending time, energy, gas, fuel, showing people that don't know what the hell they want houses for 1.5%. That's not real estate. That's being an agent. That's not being a real estate investor. In fact, let me tell you this, $1 million advice. Who wins at the closing table, class? The seller. The broker don't get no money. The broker's limited to 6%. The attorneys don't get no money. The average closing fees is between $750 and $1,500 for closing fees. That's on the national standard of real estate boards and assessors. You can Google that. The contractors don't make no money. Nobody gets paid except for the seller. The seller always gets the lion's share, period. You want to get into real estate, you figure out how to become the seller. Boom, atomic bomb. Become the seller. Sell this stuff, man, period. Why are we trying to figure out, oh, I'm going to broker it for somebody else, or I'm going to wholesale it, I'm going to get $5,000 wholesaling transactions, you ain't got no license. Here's the rule. The rule is either you go and get a license because you're going to sell real estate for other people, or you own it. I ain't never had a real estate license, ever, in 20 years. Well, I'm celebrating 10 years of real estate investing, 20 years of entrepreneurship. So in 10 years of real estate investing, I've never had a license. I don't need one. Why? Because every property that I've sold, I've owned or had an interest in of some sort. So if that's the game, if this is the lay of the land, and this is how things work, then why are we all being told, yeah, black people, you can come and play the real estate game with us, but you want to become an agent? Get out of here with that. You guys are figuring out how to become sellers, but you're pointing us in this direction so we can go play the agent game. That's a game. That's a game that they've created to be able to direct the traffic, man. They're directing traffic on us. And we've never played these games, so we don't know who to go to who's been down the road long enough to say, hey man, this is how these lights work. They're going to turn the light on, and then at this point they're going to turn it off, and they're going to turn it back on again. So while you're sitting here in traffic, there's a tunnel underneath us, and people are on the train, and they're getting to their destination in 5 minutes while you're sitting here for 2 hours. They already did their deals. They already know what they're going to do. They got the research. They know what areas to invest in, and they're getting paid. Now, why are we here? With all of this information, why are we here? The land that we're on right now is sacred as it relates to real estate, because right around the corner was the very first project. You did your homework about affordable housing and how the project started. In 1973, it was an actual project. And the Atlanta Housing Authority got with 2 entrepreneurs. One was a white man who was extremely wealthy, and another was a brother who was very intelligent, and he put together this plan that they submitted to HUD for this affordable housing program. And the United States government, based off this plan, issued some money, and they decided to build the first project right down the street, right here. That program was deemed successful by the HUD and the United States government, and they replicated it. They replicated it in Cabrini Greens, in Chicago. They replicated it in the Bronx, New York, where I'm from, in other project areas, in New York, in Detroit, in Louisiana, New Orleans. They put projects everywhere for the purpose of giving, quote, low-income housing to minorities and people who couldn't afford to be downtown and sort of stuff because of income disparities and all these types of things. Over the past 40, 50 years, they deemed the program, some aspects of the program are like they don't work. The research that's come back, which is why they're disrupting all these projects now, shows that you can't, if you put low-income people in high concentrations, this is studies that they've done. If you put a large number of low-income people in one area, the result that you're going to get is more crime, more disease, more bad decisions, more low education, all this type of stuff. This is what the project report from 1973 forward has shown. Okay? This was the report show. So now what they're doing is during the Clinton administration, they switched up the game. They said, all right, we're going to get rid of these projects and we're going to disperse these people into stronger economic communities. So you have like $1 million house, $1 million house, $1 million house. Then it's like affordable housing spot where people of low income can volley and win a lottery to be in that area so their kids can go to school. $1 million house, $1 million house, $1 million house, affordable housing. This is the new model. Okay? And so now they got this thing, and I ain't just talking about Atlanta. This is going on everywhere. Every other city that I speak in, this just got back from Columbus, Ohio. They doing the same thing there, right? So what's happening? They coming in, bulldozing the projects, right? They blowing up the levees. They flooding the wards. They doing the same thing here, right? And they saying, okay, this area is desolate, but here comes the entrepreneurs, the real estate entrepreneurs, who don't look like us because they got access to capital. They know these things that I'm telling you. They using self-directed IRAs. Their parents got $1 million sitting at 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. They using self-directed IRAs. They go into the banks. They got the 720 credit scores. They using business lines of credit. They using all these non-traditional means. And they ain't using mortgages. And they going into these exact areas. They getting the master plan and they figuring out what's going on. And they're investing in those areas. And they're getting paid. Gentrification is happening in Atlanta. It's happening all over the country right now. If you want to get paid, you can get paid in whatever MLM that you want to be in, selling some kind of juice that's going to heal your body, right? Selling some magic water at a 8.5 pH level, right? Learning how to trade the foreign currency exchange and sitting in front of a computer all daggone day, watching the market. You don't even know what the hell the market is doing, but they telling you to go in and you're losing your money. You can do all of these things. You can buy Bitcoins. You can do them all. I know all about it. Or you can take advantage of this one lane, because the key to success is to be able to have focus in one area until you become a master. In fact, mastery is defined as 10,000 hours or 10 years, whichever comes first. 10,000 hours that you focus on one thing, you're the master, or 10 years. Huh? That's what Malcolm Gladwell defines as mastery. He wrote about it in his book, The Tipping Point. Great read. So if we know gentrification is happening, and we know this is happening all over the world, and then here comes a bomb, we know that the Super Bowl is coming to Atlanta. Let's just get to it. Why are we here, Dr. Anderson? Super Bowl is coming. And when you go home tonight, you call the Marriott, huh? And you ask them, I want to know how much it's going to cost for February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 2019. You know what them white folks are going to tell you? It's going to be $2,500 a night. A night. And it's coming to Atlanta, and Negroes don't own nothing. Ain't nobody downtown. Can't nobody rent their house out. I'm telling people 50 grand from my crib for the weekend, for the week. How many of us can do that? Huh? We got to own something. We got to own something. Here comes a meteor. We don't even have to own it. We can lease it for that just one little bit of time and call the snooze box. Snooze box is temporary lodging for events. So I can go down to the Gulch, I can pay my little money or hook up a deal and get a lease for that weekend for a parking lot, and then turn around, call the snooze box and be like, y'all want to house 1,000 people. And then build a website and start promoting that I got affordable housing during the Super Bowl, 500 a night. Now I got the snooze box. I got a whole bunch of containers from snooze box, and then white people is getting drunk. They staying in the Gulch. Hey! And we done made $1 million. That's what we do. That's what I'm doing. Best believe that. Snoozebox.com. How many of us are thinking like that? How many of us even know Super Bowl is coming? How many of us are buying land in the Super Bowl area? Just a damn lot. You can get a lot. Call a snooze box. How many snooze boxes can fit on a lot? I don't know. Let's figure it out. Let them white folks stay in them snooze boxes. Get 1,000, 1,500 a night. Snooze box can hold what? 20, 30 people? We trying to figure out how to do t-shirts. We got Super Bowl t-shirts. So I came out the gas station the other day. My man said CDs, DVDs, CDs. My brother, hey brother, check it out, man. Check it out, check it out, check it out. I got CDs, DVDs, CDs, DVDs. I'm like, man, we got Netflix now. Who's buying DVDs and CDs, man? Come on. Oh man, it's the hood. Hood ain't got no Netflix. Seriously? Come on, man. They got Google Fiber downtown, man. Come on. So we gotta start thinking about, oh man, what's coming? What's coming next? Okay, Dave said Super Bowl coming. All right, cool. What else is coming? Y'all know what else is coming? Amazon coming. Amazon said they moving right next door to the Dome. Anybody know the history of Amazon? Every time they move somewhere, they bring at least 100, 150,000 jobs. Boom. And them don't be regular jobs, talking about $20,000 a year. Them jobs be between 75 and 150,000. So now you got another 150,000 people coming to stay. Where they gonna live? There's only 11,000 parking pads for the Dome right now. The only hotel that's down there is the Clarion on Northside Drive. That's the only one in the immediate area. Ain't even enough time to put up a full hotel right now. Snooze box. It's about the land. You own the land, you can get busy. You can figure it out. So we got to get about the business of choosing which strategy, proven strategy, am I going to use, what industry, that should be first, what industry, what proven strategy, and then what's my team or my execution to get that done. Are we going to Super Bowl? I don't even watch football. I hate it. I think that somebody banging their head against, a black man banging his head against, rocking his skull, giving himself a concussion so that he can't use his most powerful asset that God has given him is crazy for $1. Especially running the ball down a field that the white man owns to get a touchdown and doing a dance. The whole thing is racism and white supremacy. White man sitting up in the skybox. Go ahead, look at the nigga run. Run, nigga, run, 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 run. But we watch it every Sunday like it's religion. Like it's a religion. And we ain't gonna get no money from that? You gonna pay me for all of the rocks that you gave my brother that he ain't even smart enough to recover from. I want that equity. That's how we need to be moving on this, man. We don't need to be moving on this like, oh, we gonna go see the game, we gonna go get crunk, we gonna get a suite. You get a suite, it should be a suite for all your partners that got together and organized how we gonna get this lot and how we gonna work together to get them snooze boxes on that lot. So when the game is being played and all them white folks are staying in the snooze boxes, we upstairs watching the game laughing. I don't even watch football. I'm gonna have to ask Will, what's going on next? What just happened, man? Why is everybody on? Just saying, man. My focus is somewhere else. I'm totally engulfed in what I do. I love it. Why? Because when we can transfer this information to someone that might or might not know, or someone that can use something to do something different and get a different result, that's more important than who won the damn game or not. Will gets to go home. Whether he goes to live in Buckhead or coming or decides to work for Verizon, he can tell them tomorrow, I don't want to do this no more, and have somewhere to sleep. Because he listened. I said, nobody has a mortgage. He said, I want to be an entrepreneur. What do I do? Don't have a mortgage. And he figured it out. It's that simple. You want to focus on what it is that you got to do to be wealthy or establish wealth? Number one, you can't have a mortgage. You can't. It's impossible. Ain't no black woman going to let you run out and play entrepreneur Negro all damn day. Well, what you been doing? Baby, I was just, trying to get my idea. I got ideas, baby. I'm trying to do big things, baby. I'm trying. Negro, the lights is off. You know what I'm saying? Try to be a big picture thinker, and your lady talking about my lights is off. I can't do my hair. You ain't doing nothing but going to work, getting a check, right? I'm not saying that's wrong. What I'm saying is we have to challenge our own thinking. What we've accepted to be truth is an untruth. It's an untruth that somebody else has pushed upon us that we've accepted, and as a result, it directly affects where we are as a people. $1 trillion ability, $1 trillion, but no wealth. Let me close on this. I'm gonna take some questions. this will, if having nothing that I've said, this should really drive home. The Huffington Report did this report. You know, they always doing reports, you know. They did this article, man, and it said the richest, it said 5 men, white men, 5 white men own more land collectively than 42 million black folks in America. 5 white men. 5 individual white men collectively own more, and Ted Turner was on that list. Y'all know he sold CNN back in the 80s, and he bought like the state of Montana and all kind of other crazy. He's a land baron. Land baron means that he's a billionaire in land. His assets in land is exceeds $1 billion. And 5 white men, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 white men own more land than 42 million Negroes in America. 42 million. Even if we decided to add the 45 million brothers and sisters trapped on 33 islands in CARICOM, I'm talking about the Caribbean, even if we got all of the Africans that's trapped on islands in the Caribbean, there's 45 million of them. Even if we took 45 million and added the 45 million of the Caribbeans in CARICOM and the blacks in America, if we added that together, it's still these 5 white men got more than that. 5 white men. Let that sink home, man. That is unbelievable to me. I can't believe it. Hey, brother, come on in. I can't believe that. So to me, we got work to do. We don't have no time to be shucking and jiving, right? Trying to figure out a game or, you know, Manolo Blahniks, Red Bottoms, you know, Yaki, Milky Way, Mane and Tail, you know, whatever it is. We ain't got time for that. We have to come together, and if we can do it as individuals, we can do it together, we can do it in the church, you can do it at work, we can do whatever the hell we want to do, but we have to be about the business of a wealth plan right now for ourselves and for our immediate families so that we can assist our community. Period. It's too much happening. We got to put kids through school. There's kids right now whose parents can't afford to send them to college. And they got these kids is smart. So it's either this kid stays here and gets a minuscule education or somebody gets behind him. You know how that goes. They say Chadwick Boseman, right? They just did $1 billion on Black Panther, which was actually shot. A lot of it was shot in this area right here on Jackson Street, the little spaceship when it comes in. And kids looking up, you see the spaceship go away, that building he was playing basketball in, that's right around the corner right over here, right? They say Chadwick Boseman had his education paid for by Denzel Washington and Felicia Rashad. In fact, somebody went to Felicia Rashad and was like, yo, Chadwick Boseman is trying to go to this school, needed some money. I think it was Howard, I don't know what school it was, right? And Felicia Rashad said, hold on a second. She called Denzel. Next thing you know, Denzel and Felicia Rashad is on a plane to go meet with Chadwick Boseman. They say, yo, you got an opportunity, we heard. They fronted the bill. Now Chadwick Boseman is on the biggest film of Marvel superhero history. They're like, oh my God. This Black Panther is worth more than Superman. Out the box. Thor, Superman, Batman, all of that. Wonder Woman, they got to get behind Black Panther. It's unbelievable. But what if Felicia Rashad and Denzel, what if Felicia Rashad didn't have access to Denzel, and what if Denzel didn't pay the bill? That's the real history in the Chadwick Boseman story. Was that somebody was able to pay the bill because his parents couldn't. That's black empowerment. That's what Dr. Anderson's talking about. So George Fraser's talking about. That's what daggone Michael Roberts talked about. He was at the event. So Roberts a billionaire. One of my mentors. We sitting on the table talking that word of faith with Kasim Reed and the director of HUD and all these other people. And they're trying to figure it out. And then guess what the conversation was? Affordable housing. That was the conversation for the night. They say, hey, there's 150,000 vouchers in Atlanta and gentrification's happening and Negroes aren't going to be able to afford to live downtown. What do we do? What say you? And I came out with a strategy. I was like, yo, this is what we do. Cargo homes. That's what we do. We buying the land at the tax lien, and we putting cargo homes on it. Major. I got more phone calls after that joint went on the internet, on YouTube. I got more phone calls about being able to develop cargo homes than I've ever gotten in my entrepreneurial career from one event. People talking about, here's $500,000, here's $1 million. Let's build it. So what I'm getting at, people, is that the world is your oyster in real estate, as long as you own the land. So that means you can build cargo homes. If you own the land, you can call a snooze box and strategically place temporary lodging for these people during main events. You can hold some back. You can just sell it, get your equity and buy something else. You can rent them out. But don't just get in the real estate game and do what everybody else is doing and think you're going to make money using mortgages to buy the house that you're going to go and get one Section 8 tenant to pay that mortgage. Are you serious? Who does that? That's a lot. This is what they're telling us. They're not telling you, yo, buy the land, 2 to 3 acres, and build a 100-unit cargo plex, and then go to affordable housing or HUD and let everybody stay in there for $1,000 a month. You got 100 people paying you $1,000 a month. Even if only 50 of those 100 paid every month, you still good. That's 100 racks a month. Even if it came in half, it's 50 G's a month. You could go and do 10 more of those projects. You could do a project every year. And in 10 years, you got $100,000 coming in 10 times every month. Come on, man. That's when you retire. But you can't retire using mortgages, trying to get black folks to pay their rent on time because you got to pay the mortgage company. That's a trap. And they keep selling that same trap to us. Why? Because we don't know. We don't know no better. It's our first time on the box. So we just want to get paid quickly. If it's going to be, I'm going to sell this noni juice, or I'm going to sell this magic water at 5.89 pH, or I'm going to go over here and I'm going to trade the Forex, or I'm going to do the Bitcoins, or I'm going to sell something else that I really don't understand. I'm not taking a shot at MLMs, y'all. I'm just saying, when they build wealth, there's only 2 ways that it's done. When you go to Forbes, it's either inherited or it's self-made. And them 500 people that's on Forbes, wasn't none of them on there saying that they were selling noni juice. I'm just saying, you could go and look at them 500 people. I study them, okay? None of them got on that list from noni juice. Okay? So we got to do what Nas did. I'm going to say this in closing. I'm going to take some questions over the internet and from here. We got to be like Nas. Nas, people say, oh, he's a rapper. You know Nas is making money because Khalees motioned in the court. She said, I need more child support. And they said, well, Khalees, why? Because Nas' economic situation has changed. It ain't what it used to be. She motioned the court. So Nas put up $100,000 on this company. They made like a doorbell ringer or whatever. And he put some money on them, and he was working with them, mentoring them, you know, trying to, you know, he's trying to move his thing into, you know, because all the rappers now, Dre's investing, he got, you know, Beats, you know, Puffy's got, you know, stuff going on, Jigga Man is almost $1 billion. Like, so all the rappers is like, yo, being a billionaire is cool now, so let's try to figure out how to invest. You would think they was trying to do this 20 years ago. Right now, everybody wants to have wealth conversations. So this guy invests $100,000. The company starts to grow, starts to do its thing, and then they sell for like $1 billion. Nas's cut is $45 million. It's his cut. $45 million on a $100,000 investment. So just think of that. If we put 100 G's into something and it returns $45 million, right? He didn't get that money from being a rapper. He got that money from investing. You gotta invest. You gotta invest. You don't have to be a Mr. Flipper. You don't have to be the ultimate real estate investor. You don't have to be a real estate mogul. All you gotta do is invest. You can stay on your job. You don't have to leave your job. I'm not saying leave because some people say, oh, well, Dr. Anderson, you fired me up. You really made me think, man. I went to my boss on Monday, and you know what I told him? I said, man, you. And now I don't have a job, Dr. Anderson. I'm like, yo, I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to invest. I didn't tell you to leave. Okay? So we have to understand that if we hate our jobs that bad, if our minds have been open that I am actually trading my time for money, and I need to do something differently, then you have to invest. You have to invest. If you're anything like me, my corporate experience was very limited. I probably worked 3 or 4 different gigs in corporate. Worked at the Boy Scouts of America, was like an executive, and then I worked at like UPS. It didn't work out. Last W-2 that I got was 1999. It was on the box line at Marvin Miller, picking up the 72-pound boxes and putting them on a conveyor belt, right? And they was like, this is gonna be a career for you. One day I came to work, twilight sort, and this white boy got his apron caught in the jam. So, you know, when the aprons get caught in the conveyor belt, you like getting ready to die. Your neck getting ready to snap, right? So they teach you, you know, to press the button and break the jam and all this type of stuff. So when he was going down so hard that his knees was buckling, he couldn't get the air to say help, but I kind of just saw what was going on. So I ran over to him, got my little box cutter, pressed the button wouldn't stop the machine. He was getting ready, his neck was getting ready to snap, and then I just, you know, cut the apron off, and he was able to roll over and be like, thank you, right? So it gets word to corporate, and it goes upstairs, and some supervisors come down, and it's like, Anderson, get off the box line. Because after this happened, I just went back to work, right? You know, and they're like, get off the line, tell us what happened. I was like, yo, this dude was about to die. You know, the safety mechanism that you guys talked about didn't work. We had to figure something else out, or his neck was gonna snap. So, you know, I cut him loose. So one guy's yelling at me about how I didn't follow protocol. I didn't follow the book. The book said to press this button. The button didn't work. So I should have called upstairs and asked for help. At the time that it would have taken me to pick up the phone and say, hey, the button didn't work. This dude would have died, right? So they're like yelling at me, you gotta follow the protocol. We have policies and procedures in place and SOPs. I'm like, listen, man, this dude is gonna die, right? And then if he's dead, the whole entire operation shuts down because the coroner gotta come in here. That's a 2-day process. How much money would you have lost during that time frame? So this incident, in my understanding, saved you money because you didn't have to stop production. So when I hit him with that, this guy comes down, he's like, older black guy, he's like, son, he's walking me around, he's like, we're gonna promote you, we're gonna make you the nighttime supervisor, we're gonna offer you $37,500, it's part-time, we're gonna pay for your school, we're gonna do all of this. They're selling me. They're selling me on management. And this is what got me. I'm gonna end on this. God, I'll never forget this. They walking me down the line as they talking to me about all these things that UPS was gonna do and how I had this bright future at UPS and UPS needed quick thinking and young people and all this type of stuff. They showed this dude, they called him on the box line, they called him Mule. I will never forget this dude. This dude was black, blue, black, brown, blue, black skin, white teeth, and he had a white afro. And he didn't say not one word. They called him Mule. And dude rolled up on Mule, they was like, Mule! And he turned around, he was tall, had these big old arms, and he just looked at me. And he said, Mule here is celebrating 45 years working at UPS. I said, 45 years a day at the time. I ain't even 45 now. You know what I'm saying? That was 20 years ago. I was like, this dude been on the box line for 45 years? And this is the part that killed me. They go, and he never missed a day of work. I was like, damn. This dude gave y'all 45 years? Never missed a day of work? I'm like, well, what did y'all give him? Because they celebrated this last night. Him and his wife, they got him the chicken, the watermelon, the dinner, all this type of thing. They celebrated Mule. 45 years of service. I'm like, well, what y'all give him? Mule, show him what they gave him. And he just turned around and looked at me. Gave him a pin. 45 on his lapel. 45 years of service. He had a collar shirt on. Like one of them polo shirts with your arms out. 45 years of service. It was a pin. It wasn't even gold. It was plastic. I said, man, Mule, thank you for your service. I swear to God, man, that dude looked at me. He had these like shark ghost eyes. I don't know if you ever seen a shark before, but sharks got these eyes where like you really can't just see through them. It's like these ghost eyes. And he just looked at me. And the man didn't say anything, but 90% of communication is nonverbal. That dude told me, run. He said, get the hell on, don't come back. You know, I had to do this because I ain't have the smarts or education that you might have, and I had to get my kids through school, and my wife was telling me the lights is off, Negro go figure it out, so I stayed here for 45 years. That's how I had to do it, but you don't have to do this. Run. I was like, you think you got it, and never went back. So that meant in my world, right, I had to figure it out. I had to figure out how I was going to get my medical payments, my insurance payments, my real estate insurance, my auto insurance, my staff, my payroll. I had to put things in place, systems in place, so that gets figured out. And that class is now your nettlesome task if you choose to accept this mission. All right? So that's my story. I want to take some questions from some folks that might be online. We got online questions? What's up? Is it emergency? That's fine. All right. Anything else? Anything else?
No, I already went off the line.
Okay, but I mean, it got recorded though, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
posted.
Cool. That's all we want to do. All right, so this is what we do. Let's do questions and answers. Anybody got some questions? We give some answers.
I guess mine is really the how do you get started? If you have everything in place,
Okay.
what's the support system like?
Let's do it.
What's the
So we can
process?
get started. The next sale is April 3rd. That's the next drop date. Everybody write this down. April 3rd is the next opportunity to purchase. April 3rd. April 3rd, 10 a.m., courthouse steps. Now, what we would have to do, we have 3 full weeks, 1, 2, 3 full weeks to prepare for that. And what we would have to do is, I'm assuming funds are coming from the market, so 3 weeks is not a lot of time to be able to get that going, so we have to engage immediately. But what happens is if funds are coming off the market, there's a rollover where, let's just say it's Vanguard or Fidelity, whoever it is, and those funds are rolled over into the self-directed IRA, and then it's further forwarded to the LLC. And then when that happens, you can use those funds to be able to invest. So that's how that goes. So it's simple, but there's some steps to it, and our office has a support team to be able to help you guys with that stuff. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we need an individual LLC to be
Yeah,
able to-
every property that we acquire, we put in individual LLCs.
Okay.
Our staff is very knowledgeable on how that works. We assist you guys with doing that. But there's an operating agreement which shows us how to engage or explains how we engage. There's there's a whole list of things that we do to mitigate the risk. We don't believe that you should buy real estate in your own name. That's something that black folks do, and we're trying to break that. I own this, and it's in my name, right? Then when somebody comes to the house and they trip, right, and they suing you, well, guess what? He taking your house, right? So now, when your cousins come over and they see you got this big house and they fall and they want to sue somebody, if it's in the LLC, and guess what? They're not suing you, they suing the LLC. And if you got insurance on it, right, then the insurance pays for the attorney and the attorney's fees to go and represent whatever that issue is in court. That's how you handle that. So, that the LLC is extremely powerful. It's an extremely powerful vehicle, extremely powerful tool. So next from assisting to transfer funds into the self-directed IRA and getting it into the LLC, actually purchasing the house, we put that house in the LLC. So there's a transaction floating around the internet where we bought a house for like $300 and I put that house in the name of 1376 Smith Street, and then turned around and sold it for $165,000. Bought it for $300. Can't make this stuff up. So, you know, I think what our shop does and what we do well is that we do research. We spend, like while y'all are at work, we spend a whole month researching. So our research is imperative.
So the sale that you're talking about, the next one is April 3rd, so that happens every month?
Yeah, there's a sale here in Atlanta every month. Every month. Now, I want to talk about this, which is very important. When we're dealing with tax lien certificates, we're dealing with guaranteed instruments. Guaranteed instruments. Okay? So the law here in Georgia is that you have to wait 12 months and 45 days in tax liens. 12 months and 45 days, that is the rule. That's the ability for the other side to get their stuff together and buy back their house. It's called the redemption rule. So it gives the family a whole year. So if they don't come back, it's like, well, hey, you got a whole year to pay it, and you did it. So now, you know, the house is yours. So if your funds are coming off of the IRA and this is your nest egg, we recommend heavily that they go into tax liens, period. This is money that you don't work a long time for, and you know you don't want to put it on Bitcoins and then it just, oh, the market went the other way. So we recommend if it's you know something that you're trying to grow over a long term, then put it in these tax liens because it's guaranteed plus 20% in the first year and 10% in the addition. All right, so that means once you put that fund, if you transfer that money from wherever it's at into the ground, it's an automatic principal protected plus 20%. And then if it goes into the second year, it's 10% then. So in upwards of 30% potentially. Yes, ma'am.
I heard that if the owners or the people who pay their tax lien, if they pay it off before the 1 year, you don't get it at 20%, you get it at a discounted rate of 20%. Is that true?
If somebody doesn't pay their taxes and you pay it,
Yeah. And
they have to pay you principal plus interest of 20%, period.
So even the next day, if they decide they have to pay
Principal plus interest of 20%, period. So you got to know the law. And so what we do is, the second part to this is we offer training. So for all of our partners, there'll be a training. We just had a training, but we'll have a training before we bid. So that training week will be the 31st of March, the 1st of April, the 2nd, and then we buy as a group on the courthouse steps, which is where you saw us, on the 3rd at 10 a.m. So we spend 4 days together, and we give you the entire nuts and bolts of what to expect, what the expectation is. All right? So if it's your first time and you're just trying to figure it out and you are patient and you can wait, because we have clients that just think that this is you know, you put it in, you get it out. You know, if you're patient and you can wait, your money hasn't been doing anything anyway on the market at 5%. So if you're patient and you can wait, you can grow your funds. You're just gonna have to wait the 12 months. Yes, sir. Did that answer your question? Yes, sir.
The last subject of your discussion was investment. And I know that you are a tax lien specialist, and I also know that you are an adept real estate investor. So as far as investment vehicles in real estate, I'm certain that you are, advocating and promoting tax liens.
Got it.
Outside of that, are there any other real estate investments that you would, promote or,
So
advocate?
yeah, definitely. I mean, tax liens is a major vehicle, obviously, because it's the foundation. It's how we've gotten to this point, right? But we have to explore moving past just the basic transactions, which is now why you'll hear me having a more developmental commercial real estate conversation. When we just a couple of weeks ago, we were asked to speak at the Word of Faith for Black History Month tribute. Mr. Roberts, directors from HUD, Kasim Reed, and my conversation wasn't, I mentioned tax liens, but my conversation was a real estate development conversation from a commercial aspect. So this is the goal. Tax liens is a starting point. Everybody in here, for the most part, we have some resources, but we're not super duper investors. This is like our first time for the most part. Some of us have interest. We might have bought a house, one or two, you know, through our lifetime, but to be able to focus on this every year for the next 10 years, this might be a new concept for some of you. But we don't want y'all to stay here. We want y'all to move into other aspects of real estate. And so what the gentleman is pulling out is that the game is to own land with multiple structures, period. If you want to use the Cargoplex as an option, then fine. You know, if you have, you know, 100 people paying you $1,000 a month, fine. You know, but we got to start somewhere. And so we're using tax liens as a start to build the wealth, to be able to buy the land, to build the cargo container homes or whatever the hell multiplex we're going to build, so that we can be players in the commercial real estate space. That's the goal here. The goal is to be players in the commercial real estate space. That's building wealth. You know, residential is transaction. Oh, I bought a house or something. I mean, the average flip transaction is $45,000. That's per the National Real Estate Board. So you're not gonna make, you know, you're not gonna retire doing flips. It ain't gonna happen. So we have to start looking at what is our commercial real estate strategy now, and use tax liens as the leverage to get us to that space. If that answers the question. Yes, sir.
Two questions. One is, what's the name of your online radio show? It's like,
Oh yeah, so Blackonomics is the name of the show, and we should be relaunching it very soon. Looks
Okay.
like 2 months or so.
and do you have a website that you can?
Yeah, so if you go to Dr. David, I'll give you my card,
Okay.
drdavidandersonsenior.com. My website is there. It kind of tells you like what we're doing. I'll give everybody my card.
All right.
Thank you.
Call us. Did everybody sign the sign-in sheet? All right, and so that's my contact information. Question?
In the
Oh,
beginning,
you said you had 2 questions. So that
Oh,
was,
yeah,
Oh, you
website,
answered both.
yeah, radio show.
in the beginning of your presentation, you talked about not the myth of having to have money to get into real estate, and you know, you kind of debunked that myth. How do you know approach that conversation with people that don't really have those resources, that don't have the 401ks to
Yeah,
get
so,
into?
so that's why I
get
said,
into
if you don't
real
have the
estate?
401, I dipped right into the credit conversation.
Right.
You know, if you don't have the 401k, you gotta have to get that credit score up. You know, and honestly, even when you're investing, you don't want to have access to 401k money or SDIRA money and not have the credit score to where it needs to be. Because you might want to do some things, something might come up and you might want to take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the bank lends money to you when you don't need it, right? So the whole goal is, it only takes 1 or 2 deals to have the funds to be able to appropriate to get the credit score to where it needs to be. I mean, if your credit score is in the hole, right, you could get it fixed in like 90 days. So if you know you're not where you need to be, you have to discipline yourself, put yourself on a plan to say, in 90 days, I'm gonna get my stuff cleared up so that in the next 90 days, I can add the trade lines on it. Now I'm in the game for financing. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be serious enough if we know we're not in a position where we put ourselves in a position to invest, because a lot of you guys in here have put yourselves in positions to be in class at the end of the month and pull down some funds to invest, right? But even if we're not, we need to get on the business of fixing the credit so that we can access these lines. Because when we access these lines, now we can start investing. You know, so we gotta start figuring out how serious are we. Everybody wants to build wealth. Everybody. Everybody and their mama wants to do what we're talking about. Everybody does, right? But how many people are serious enough to put the money up, and then not just put the money up, because we have people who have put money up, but then they're not willing to wait. We got people who put money up on guaranteed instruments, guaranteed, who are not willing to wait. Meaning that if the redemption cycle ends and the people come and they redeem their properties, right? You got a guarantee on that. But we got Negroes jumping up and down who don't even want to wait for that. They don't want to wait for the guarantee. They want to go put their money on the Bitcoin. I'm not saying don't invest in the Bitcoin, but come on. We got a guarantee. So, you know, we got to decide what the plan is. What is the plan? What do we want out of this? How far are we willing to go? You know, and that's, I mean, you can get what it is that you want as long as you outline how you're going to get there. We have proven strategies on how to do that. So it's up to us, you know, to make that happen. Any other questions? All right, well, it looks like we got 2 people that want to get involved with the class. For, oh, did I read that right?
You read that all? Did you point to me?
Yeah, 1, 2.
Oh, okay, yes.
Am I right? Okay, all right. You guys coming back for the end of the month?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 4. 5? Possible. Okay, I got you. Checking things out. That's wise. That's wisdom. Yeah.
I'd like to say this. I came down to do pictures for a wedding, and you know, I don't look at things coincidentally. I look at that was where I need to be at
Okay.
the time.
All right.
I take that on
All right. Well, let us know, and the team will follow up. But we got an amazing opportunity here in Atlanta. I mean, you saw it for yourself, and I want to commend you for asking, because I remember 10 years ago when I saw that same thing go down, and there wasn't nobody black that I could ask questions.
Right.
You know, like nobody. So when I had something going on, something imperative happening, and I couldn't get to you guys. But the fact that other investors were there with other teammates, and you know, they were actually able to answer everything else without me having to even be present. I was like, man, we got a system. So this is a system. It's not about me. It's about building a system that we can use to be able to do what it is that we need to do. It's just using the system. The system works. You know, don't reinvent it. It works. And when we get some transactions under our belt, we get 5 or 6 transactions under your belt. You get a year's worth of transactions under your belt. Then you could go put $10,000 on the Bitcoin just to see what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But if we're not there, we still got the mortgage, car note, you know, student loans, and all this other stupid stuff. We're not there yet. We can't do that. We can't use that as the first vehicle. The last thing I want to tell y'all, man, is we got to start reading books. I'm not suggesting we don't read. I know I said that on some TV show that I did, and they killed me on the internet. They was like, we do read, Dr. Anderson. Oh, it was in the movie. It was in Generation. It was in Generation 1. I said that. I said, Negroes don't read. And then I had to go back and edit it. I have to say, Negroes don't read enough. But when they screen that thing, man, like the first 2 weeks, I want to talk to you about your comment that you made. Negroes don't read. I read. So, but we're not reading enough. And the reason why I'm saying that is because with all this digital stuff, right, everything is on the Kindle, or it's on the iPad, it's on the iPhone, and it's all digital. It's digital. You know what I'm saying? And it's controlled. Like if you go, you could train your phone on how to respect you. For instance, like if every time I go to Google, I want Google to give me information about how to make money, I could train Google to do that based off the algorithms. I could say, only send me information that's business related. So only send me information from Bitcoin.com, you know, or send me information from Crypto News, or from the Daily Report, or from, you know, something that's going on that's related to money. I could train my phone. Then I pick up your phone, and you know, it got the little sex doll that shop pops up, stuff like that. I know what you know, your head is at. You know what I'm saying? And I'm serious. The robots, you know, it's the new thing now. So what I'm getting to, I'm serious, man, ladies, the robots here, y'all gonna be messed up. Brothers just like, yo, the robot. They tripping. But what I'm saying is, it's all how you program for information. You know what I'm saying? Serious business, man. That's what's going on. So what I'm getting at is, if you can program your phone to give you the information that you need, right? It could be absconded, it could be obscured, right? When you have a book, it ain't no changing that, right? And we've gotten totally away from that. So what I'm saying is, if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you got to have business books readily available. There's something that they can't explain. It's some type of phenomenon that happens when you turn a page in a regular book and you read a regular book. It's something that has to do with the learning process. It speeds it up. So they did some research and they tried to get like millennials to remember stuff. And when they did the millennial thing, none of them could remember anybody's phone number. They couldn't remember. But then they did another study. Well, let's say cats like the brother's age here, right? They could remember their friends' phone numbers, right? Because he's coming from a generation where they wrote stuff down, right? So there's a power in that we're losing because everything is on the phone and we can't remember nothing. So why is reading important? Why is reading business books important? More specifically, autobiographies and people who are successful. Success leaves clues. This is what George Fraser teaches us. Success leaves clues. And these people who write these books leave their success clues in the book, right? So if we're not investing in these books, and even if we don't have money to do it, we can go to Goodwill. White man dies, he leaves all his books. His family don't know what to do with it. They take it to the Goodwill. You can get them books, all the business books in the world, $1. Spend $1,000, you can have a whole library, $10,000, right? You could go to Amazon. You could order a book for a used one, for $5, change your life, right? But if you want to do this, you got to read business books. Those are mandates, man. You can't play with that. And I ain't talking about empowering books, you know, the 48 Laws of Power. Oh, that's a good book. Sun Tzu. Oh, the Art of the War. Ain't nobody at war. I mean, we are, but Sun Tzu ain't helping me get this next real estate deal. I mean, I might learn something in chapter 14, you know, how to utilize energy, but that's not helping me at the courthouse. I need to know how to raise money, right? I need to know who Malcolm Gladwell is. I need to know about his understanding on psychology and human behavior. You know what I'm saying? I need to know about Robert Kiyosaki. I need to read Rich Dad and Poor Dad. I need to reread that joint. I need to read Cash Flow Quadrant. You know, I need to read these things so that I understand what I got to do. Because when you see somebody and they know more than you, it's not because they're smarter than you or they went to somebody's school. 9 times out of 10, they read a book. So they're operating off of a consciousness and an ideology that somebody else already studied and put in play. So if we don't have knowledge of that, we out the game. So what I'm getting to is we got to build business libraries. Got to build business libraries. Got to. When we finish this deal with this office, with this building, and we put the School of Entrepreneurship there, that's the goal. We're gonna do the radio show out of there once a week. But the goal is to be able to teach, train. You know, Bruce Lee, when he was doing his movie career, he still had a dojo. He still trained on the weekends. You could roll up to the dojo and you could pay your money and you was training with Bruce Lee. Wherever he was at, when he wasn't filming for a movie, he was in that dojo, he was training. That's what we're doing. This entrepreneurship, it's like a gym. In fact, that's what I'm gonna call it. It's the gym of entrepreneurship. You have to exercise this mind, you have to exercise your brain, you have to do it. It's an action, it's a lifestyle, it's what you do. You do it every day. It's not something that you play with. Oh, I think I wanna be an entrepreneur, Dr. Anderson. You think? You're toying with the idea? No, Negro, you either know it, you do it or you don't. You don't think about being an entrepreneur. You know, you do it or you don't. And if you commit to it, you know, nobody's saying leave your job and all that stuff, but be cognizant of how much time you're giving them people. At 4 o'clock, that's it. That's your time. You got from 4 to 7 before you got to deal with the kids and homework and cooking dinner and all that super stuff. If you got to deal with that, so you got from 4 to 7 every day, or from, you know, people hustling from 10 to midnight before they cut out. Because you got to go to sleep at midnight. You can't be up worth anything in the morning if you don't go to bed by midnight. So people got to do their business in the constraints of a burst of 3 hours and a burst of 2 before they fall out. It's crazy. So you can't play with this thing, man. It requires training, period. The difference between the people who are successful and the people who are unsuccessful is training. So we understand that, and we got a whole bunch of facilitators that, you know, these guys are not multimillionaires. Some of them are, some of them aren't, but everybody's a dedicated entrepreneur, and I think there's some value in that. I think there's some value in offering courses every Saturday, you know, for the next 10 years or however long I got to do this. You know what I mean? There's a value in that. More specifically, making sure that my radio show comes out of that spot to promote what we do. because then people, we're in the district, we're in the King area. You know, if we want to come over here and screen and film, that's cool. But we're essentially in a location that people can access, black people can access. It's being promoted on the radio, so on Facebook. You know, we got a pretty good YouTube channel. You know, Nicole got it up over 115,000 views. That's dope. So, you know, people can see what we're doing, and if they want to get involved, they can come, pay for training, learn something, and then apply it. That's the game. Learn it and then do it. You don't have to go to school, take out loans, stay there for 4 years, get a skill set, learn it, go do it. Learn it, that's how you do it, let's go do it. And then you have a support team to support that idea. And that's how you win. Well, see, we get these ideas and then we go home and we share them with our life partners. And we're like, yo, check this out, I got new information. You can't do that. The dream killers, here they come. You can't do that. So you ain't got no money to do that. You don't have the smarts to do that, right? So that's cool, you know, it happens.
Dr. Anderson?
Sir.
On the 3rd, when will you be teaching on the 3rd?
April 3rd, we'll be buying property on April 3rd. Training is on March 30th, 1st, and 2nd. It's always the weekend before the sale. The sale is the first Tuesday of the month. And so what we do is, instead of, like, we don't want to just take your money and invest it. It's like the worst thing ever, right? We need for people to be informed. So we try to inform people as much as we can, as best we can, for those 3 days prior to the sale. When we go to the sale, we put that money in the ground. So on the 3rd, that's an action day. You know, we're training, we're getting some education, so that on the 4th day, we're doing what we just spent 3 days talking about. That's how learning is done in this space. You know, there's some other spaces where, you know, you gotta go and take a test and all this other stupid stuff, but that's not how black people learn. We're auditory people, you know. We got our history handed down through speaking. That's our history, that's Africa. So we believe that, you know, if we train and do, then people can kind of get it quicker. So the 3rd is an acquisition day. But training will be those 3 days prior to. And like I said, I mean, we can, you know, for those who are ready, when we break today, we can sign you up for the class if that's what you want to do. Or you can, you know, catch the next training. But I don't know how long this window's gonna stay open. You know, it keeps getting smaller and smaller. And with everything going on in Atlanta with tax liens and real estate, this is the time. It's the time to get in this now. Any other questions? All right, well, I'm gonna hang around for a minute. I think they check us out at 4. It's 3:12 now. So we're gonna just hang around if people want to network or ask additional questions. My team is here. Will's able to answer some questions, and then we can go from here. Now, you guys flew in from New Orleans, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to take you out to get something to eat. So just let us know. I don't know if y'all have plans or anything, but I usually try to come that way that long.